لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى سائر الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى الملائكة المقربين وعلى عباده الصالحين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله يأمركم أن تؤدوا الأمانات إلى أهلها وإذا حكمتم بين الناس أن تحكموا بالعدل إن الله نعم ما يعظكم به إن الله كان سميعا بصيرا وإذ قال تعالى في كلامه المجيد إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون صدق الله مولانا العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, I always come with an approach regarding empowerment via knowledge. Whenever I come, I try, especially when it comes to youth, especially when it comes to my generation, a generation that's constantly under media pressure, social pressure, spiritual pressure, that in this society that we understand where we stand. That you understand that superiority that you possess as a Muslim that you have yet to uncover, that you have yet to understand, that you have yet to respect. So in reality, what I'm saying is, each one of us in this society tries his best, tries her best to be the best, quote, American citizen, end quote, possible. We are trying to be the best citizens of this country, trying to abide by all the laws, trying to respect what should be respected. But in reality, we feel as if we are doing something extra to be a good American citizen. Whereas in reality, my brothers and sisters, is that if you are a good Muslim, you are automatically the best American citizen that exists. My brothers and sisters, we have to understand that what we have been grown up to be scared of, due to our own lack of understanding, is not a reason why we should feel oppressed or feel any lower than anyone else. For example, someone mentioned Shariah law. Shariah. All of a sudden, I don't believe in that. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's 21st century, politically correct. You play all these games. What if I was to tell you that what everyone has been growing up hearing, all the BS that Sean Hannity and his like spread, in reality that's pure nonsense? What if I was to tell you that out of all the countries present on earth, America is probably the country that follows Sharia law the best? Food for thought. Remember, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Islam, He did not send just a religion. There is no religion that can claim the foundation that Islam has. We have a spiritual foundation. We have a social structure. We have our own legal structure, our own legal system. No religion can say that they have operated an empire using a religion. Islam has the potential. Islam is the solution to an all-around life. A complete society. But it's our own ignorance, our own lack of knowledge why we don't respect that. And that's why we're scared. And that's why we let people talk down to us. Islam has a legal structure that supersedes American legality for 1,100 years, give or take. And not just that, 1,100 years to start a government, and 300 years or 250 years, give or take, to bring it to a point where we can say people have equal rights in America. Remember, this is an evolving country. This is a developing country. If you were here 40, 50, 60 years ago, you would not be sitting in this room, sitting here together. Remember, before, if you were here in 1964, there'd be, I don't see any white people here, so, okay, everyone would be the same. Yeah, okay. But if there were white people, they would be somewhere separate, and everyone else would be somewhere separate. The same century where you were born. Women, you wouldn't have cars. You wouldn't have property. You wouldn't have jobs. 20th century. These are all evolved. These are all developments that happened within the last 100 years. For example, women working. It happened out of desperation in America. You guys are tech guys. You guys are smart, right? Why did women start working? Too many men had died in the world wars. So who's going to work the factory? Who's going to make the bullets? Who's going to make the boots? Who's going to make the jeeps? What's left? Women and children. Bam. Okay, women work. Every step of the way, this government has been one that has been progressing based off need. Islam has a government that is based on what is right. So what's the founding document of this country? Not the Declaration of Independence. What is the root of our law? Anyone? Yeah, I heard it. Anyone? The Constitution. I know you guys have classes before and class and after, but you have to listen. The Constitution. Now I'm going to read. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created. Now, when you're listening to this, now in the 250 years America has existed as a country, think of how many times they are being hypocritical in this statement. In the Constitution, the introduction of our Constitution. Think about, in American history, how many times have they been hypocritical in these lines? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted amongst men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, anyone who's taken U.S. history knows how long it's taken for America to get to where it is now. To the point that we, almost every single person in this room, wasn't even considered a complete human until a few decades ago. All men are created equal, quote, quote. So this is just a document that man has written. This is a document man has written, and that's why it's flawed. When a system is developed by men, when a system is executed by men, and then it's changed by men, it's going to be a flawed system. But what about that system that comes from a higher source? Now, where's the issue with this Constitution? That they derive their powers from the consent of the governed. What if the powers are derived by the order of an almighty being named God? That these are the laws God has set, not you, not Thomas Jefferson. Speaking of Thomas Jefferson, one of the founder fathers of this country, you think you're any less of an American citizen because you're a Muslim or international? Check the Library of Congress. I checked it myself. There's a document which states, Thomas Jefferson, quote, he said that Mohammedans, meaning Muslims, should have the same rights as the Jews and Christians in this country. Why? Because he looked at Shariah law. He saw what Muslim implementation of law was. My source is from the Library of Congress. Even our founding fathers, they knew that Islam had something. Islam was special. So now, amongst American rights, there's 10 that they drill in our heads when we're in school. And I only remember the first 5. Okay. But we were taught all 10. The Bill of Rights, that every person living in America has these certain unalienable rights. The Bill of Rights. So now, America goes to every single oil-producing countries and says, you want our democracy? Do you have these rights? If you don't have oil, they don't care. Right? No? No? Okay. The Bill of Rights. that we define a free country when when people of that country have these rights. So what's the first Bill of Rights? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press. All that is in Islam already. You didn't have to become an American citizen to have this right. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La ikraha fid din. That when it comes to religion, La ikraha fid din. There is no forcing someone to accept a religion. When people say that Islam was spread by the sword, there's Muslims that believe it. Whereas it's contradictory to an ayat in the Quran, La ikraha fid din. You cannot put a sword to someone's neck and say, accept Islam. You cannot force someone's conversion to Islam. People say, oh, they grab. You know, one of the biggest issues is pulling things out of context. Putting things out of context. When you take anything out of its context, it automatically loses value. Think of a phrase. Think of anything that you can pull out of context. And how bad or how crooked it'll sound when there's no context. So this is what, a lot of people do. قَاتِلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَيْثُ ثَقَفْتُمُوهُمْ. Like, kill the mushrikeen wherever you find them. Now, you pull that out of context, then damn, Islam is a very, very bad religion. But what's the context? It's an ayat of war. It was an order to the Sahaba that when you're on the battlefield, fight. Now imagine if this was a am hukum, a general order. Why did Rasulullah when he went to Makkah, to Mukarramah, after so long, when Fath Makkah was happening, after all the stuff he had to deal with Quraysh, the Quraysh were expecting the Muslims to slaughter every single one of them. One even Sahaba say, Al-Yawmu Yawmul Malhama, that today is the day of bloodshed. Rasulullah when he found out, he said, no, go tell that Sahabi, Al-Yawmu Yawmul Malhama. Today is the day of mercy. When Rasulullah he was at the Kaaba, the mushrikeen of Makkah came to him. They said, he asked them, how do you think I'm going to deal with you today? What did they say? They're like, man, this guy is going to slaughter every single last one of us. Now let's say the hukum was am. قَاتِلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَيْثُ ثَقَفْتُمُوهُمْ. They're all lined up, slaughter them, cut all their heads. But what did Rasulullah say? They said, oh, you're a nice person, an honorable brother. We think you'll deal with us justly. Now justly? Even at that point of time, justice would have been killing all of them for what they did to the Muslims. But what did he say? Rasulullah said, I am going to say to you what Yusuf said to his brothers. You're free to go. That not only that, I will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your forgiveness. Think about it. But then all of a sudden someone brings these ayat and you're like, oh man, I don't know, man. 21st century, I don't believe in that stuff. Come on. Why are we so scared? We have to learn the life of Rasulullah. We have to learn what the Quran says. Because we don't know and we take other people's words for it, we're caught in this trap. Second, right to bear arms. Oh, there's still more. Freedom of speech. Rasulullah said in a hadith, أفضل الجهاد, that the best jihad is what? كلمة عدل عند سلطان جائر. That the best jihad is when you say a true word, when you say the truth in front of a tyrant. That is the best struggle. That is the best fight. كلمة عدل. The just word in the face of a tyrant. Freedom of speech. Freedom of press. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. You want to preach, you want to say something, then do it. Bring your proof. Present your proof. Speak out. Have an opinion. But then just because you have an opinion, don't be so ignorant that you don't expect any retaliation. You don't expect anyone to say anything back. Ali radiallahu anhu once said that when it comes to debating, when I debate an alim, when I debate a scholar, I always win. But when I debate a jahil, when I debate an ignorant person, I always lose. There's no way. The second Bill of Rights. right to bear arms. The right to bear arms. Rasulullah said, "Man shahara sayfahu thumma wada'ahu fadamuhu hadarun." That whoever has a sword and he pulls that out and he presents it to someone else, obviously with negative intent, fadamuhu hadarun. His blood can be spilt. So what's today? We don't carry around swords, but a pocket knife, a gun. Someone pulls out a gun to your face and you have a gun on your belt. What are you going to do? Take the bullet? No, you're going to fight for your life. There, right to protect yourself there. In Islam. 3, no quartering soldiers. Remember when during the Revolutionary War, British people would come, they'd come kick down your door and just sleep on your bed. They'd eat your food. They'd just use your house and then leave. It was called the Quartering Act. What did Rasulullah say? Now, complete deen. The Quran teaches us adab, teaches us how to deal with other Muslims. Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, O those of you who believe, La tadkhulu buyutan, don't enter houses, غayra buyutikum, that aren't your houses. Hatta tasta'nisu wa tusallimu ala ahliha, until you ascertain welcome. Until you are sure you are welcome. What happens if someone enters your house without you welcoming them? In any average American household, you're going to get a 12-gauge shot in your chest. The second a person enters foot into your house without your permission, legally you're allowed to shoot him in the face. You shoot him in the back, you might get legal issues. It's weird how American law works. He could have been leaving. He was in my room. But no, you shot him in the back. That's just the food for thought. That's actually what a cop told one of my family members. He said, someone comes to your house, get his attention, say, hey, whatever you have to do, just make sure he faces you before you shoot him. A cop told my dad that. I was like, oh, what the heck. Hopefully you never have to shoot someone. When you enter, you give salam to the people there. Show that, hey, I'm here. Let them know it's me. So forget any other person. Forget a soldier coming in. You're not allowed to step into another person's house without the permission, without being welcome, without letting them know you are there. That is better for you. And I'm telling you this, so that you can ponder. Yeah, not getting a bullet to my head is probably good. That's enough of a reason. 4th, right against seizure unjustly. That whatever you own, you're not allowed to just, people aren't allowed to just take it from you. That whatever it is, there has to be a legal process before something is taken. Rasulullah said, and from this one hadith, a lot of Shariah law is actually derived. Al-bayyinatu ala al-mudda'i wal-yaminu ala man ankar. That if you're going to make a claim, al-bayyinatu alayk, that the proof is on you. Any claim you want to make that this is my house, this is my car, this is my property, this, al-bayyinatu ala al-mudda'i, you're making the claim, bring the proof. وَالْيَمِينُ عَلَى مَنْ أَنْكَرَ. And for the one that is against, he has to just take an oath. In Sharia law, he has to take an oath. If you have no proof, then him saying, Allah is mine. I swear it's mine. It's enough. You can't make a claim without proof. But how many times does it happen that people are jailed for something they didn't commit based off just thought? That there's a chance he did it. But no proof was presented. Based on simple whims and fancies of the legal process of the area. That's why they say if you ever get pulled over by a small city sheriff, be careful what you say. You will disappear. In areas like that, sometimes the sheriff is the one that is doing the hearing of the court. It's like, yeah, this one crooked cop. Oh my God. Imagine, you get a ticket, you fight with the cop, and you go to court, and the cop is the judge. You're not going to win. And to be honest, the other Bill of Rights, I don't remember. But they're general rights. And what kind of rights does Islam say in the Quran? What kind of general basis, foundation of society Allah SWT presents in the Quran? Allah SWT says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ, that verily Allah SWT commands you, أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَاتِ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهَا, that if you have a trust belonging to someone, that you hand it to them, you give it to them. وَإِذَا حَكَمْتُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ, and when you deal amongst people, when you judge amongst people, that أَن تَحْكُمُوا بِالْعَدْلِ, that you judge with honesty, you judge with justice. I don't like using someone else. But you're just in your judgment. Allah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He enforces justice, وَالْإِحْسَانِ, and being nice to other people, taking care of other people, وَإِيتَاءِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى, and giving to your family, وَيَنْهَى, and He prevents, He calls you against فَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ, that against obscene acts, وَالْمُنْكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ, and rebellion and things like that, rebellious acts. A foundation for a society, like for example, you go to certain places where nudity is allowed. What is going to happen to a child growing up in a city where public nudity is allowed? He's going to grow up to be a very crooked person in the head. Because growing up, there was no society structure placed for him to grow up in an appropriate manner. From the second he's able to understand what he's seeing, he's growing up in a system based on desire. And when he grows up and becomes a drug addict and a playboy, and then you say, oh, he's such a crooked kid. I don't know where I went wrong with him. You lived in a city where public nudity was allowed. We don't understand how small things like these, control of small things like these have a basis, have an effect on the growth of our youth, the growth of our society. When Rasulullah was on his when he was on his first and last Hajj, he gave a famous khutbah al-wada, a farewell Hajj sermon. And now imagine, you're a prophet of a nation that's going to last till Yawm al-Qiyamah. And this is the speech that people will remember you for. What things would you drill in the people? What advice would you give to people? What did Rasulullah say? Oh people, it is true that you have certain rights in regards to your women. He's making sure the Sahaba understand women's rights. The society understands that women have rights. Yes, you have rights on them, but understand, Rasulullah saying is that they also have rights on you. It's not just one way. That remember that you have taken them as your wives only under Allah's trust and with His permission. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a gift. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed you to take a woman, to bring her into your house. It is the honor for the man. It is not the honor for the woman to go into a house. It is honor for the man to bring a woman into his house. And Rasulullah is pounding in the Sahaba's head that remember, they have rights on you. Why do we have to give mahar? Why do guys have to give mahar? Women don't have to give anything when they get married. But why does a man have to give a mahar? Because in the end, the woman is giving her life for you. It's just a token of appreciation, saying, I understand. That I can't repay you for this favor, but whatever you ask in this nikah, I give it to you. That's why she's allowed to ask anything in mahar. It can be a Ferrari, it can be a Lamborghini, it can be Hajj, it can be $5, it can be nothing. It's up to her. Now obviously it would be based off both of your income status. It can't be like, she grows from a poor family, she's like, yeah, I want a Rolls Royce. Obviously there's understanding. But what does she get to stipulate? Because you have to obey. It is your honor. He said, do treat your women well and be kind to them, for they are your partners and committed helpers. They take care of your kids, they take care of you, they clean up, they iron your clothes. What do they not do for you? Rasulullah is telling the Sahaba. Oh man, I ran out of time. I still have so much. Social Security, Equal Pay Act, age discrimination, civil rights. I have it here. I'm saying all of this is in Islam. Well, I could go on for maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours just going on this topic. And all the women back will leave very, very demanding women in the future. Because they'll know their rights. Wallahi, when you study Shariah, I told my teacher, I was like, I hope my wife never studies this book. Oh hell, I'm gonna be broke. But so many things in Islam, so many beautiful things that America just caught up with. Equal pay, whether you're man or woman, your Social Security benefits, society benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, age discrimination, all your civil rights, it's all in the Quran, but we don't know. We don't know. And that's why we feel like we're behind. But in reality, it's our own ignorance. The Muslim nations are very ignorant. They have a beautiful system of law they do not want to uphold. Rather, they're running towards the Western world. May Allah subhanahu give us understanding. May Allah subhanahu give us the tawfiq to properly understand deen. May Allah SWT make us the best Muslims there are and use us as role models for America, and may Allah SWT bring the people of America to Islam. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. That's it. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى سائر الأنبياء والمرسلين والعلم الملائكة المقربين وعلى عباده الصالحين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر المسلمين والمجاهدين في سبيلك في كل مكان. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. عباد الله رحمني ورحمكم الله. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. وأقيموا الصلاة.